Steven versus Amethyst. The last episode before the Bismuth special. I mean, holy crap, the Bismuth special is here, guys. Not to get too far off topic, I'm just really psyched about it because not only is it a double-length episode, but it means there's no episode on Friday, which means I actually get something resembling a day off. Hooray! That said, let's talk about this episode. This was a very good, very necessary episode. I don't have a lot to say about it, but it was a very good, very necessary episode. Just keep that in mind even though this review is going to be short. This episode begins as Garnet and Pearl are returning from going to look for Jasper. And Steven, of course, very excitedly, because he's a kid, immediately tells them what happened, that Jasper showed up and that Stevonnie beat her. And then Pearl and Garnet notice that Amethyst has reformed, but she says she's okay, so they just kind of let it go for now. And everything seems to go back to normal, but Amethyst seems really down about herself, and you can just tell. And you can just tell that Steven can just tell. So when it's time for Steven's weekly training with Pearl, I was actually genuinely surprised that Amethyst decided to go along. It shows real character growth for her that she's able to admit that she might have something to work towards, that she might need to work to get better, and to show interest in following up on that, even if her pride doesn't let her quite admit it. So she goes to this training session, and she realizes something very interesting, that in a lot of ways, Steven is actually stronger than her now. And I say stronger arbitrarily. I doubt he's actually physically stronger than her yet. I bet they're probably more on par with each other, since they are both quartz and they are both about the same size. But there are things that he definitely does better. He's better at defeating the Hollow Pearls, he's faster. There are just some ways in which he is undisputably superior to her in combat now. And you can see she's taking it really hard. Pearl doesn't notice, but you can tell that she's taking it really hard, and Steven can tell too. So later, he tries to help her get her self-esteem back by letting her win in a video game, but she obviously picks up on what's going on. She's not stupid. And the two get into an argument about which of them is the worst crystal gem, and it was absolutely hysterical. And it degenerates into a fight between the two of them at the Sky Arena, where they're trying to prove which of them is worse by beating the crap out of each other. And Steven actually discovers a new power during all of this. He's able to grow spikes from his bubble, and then Amethyst has her whip around it and swings it around and demolishes stuff, and I think this is going to be used in the future, and I'm very excited about it. But the point is, they're both doing really well. They're both fighting very, very well, and yet the entire time they're being so self-detrimental. It's just hysterical. And it's genuinely funny and enjoyable to watch. And then it ends on this very real, very deep conversation that I just adored, where Amethyst admits, and I'm going to paraphrase here obviously, that she feels like she has a legacy to live up to being a quartz gem, that she's not as good as she should be. And Steven basically says that he understands because he knows that he's not rose quartz. And he doesn't say it out loud, but you can tell that he knows that on some level the others wish he was. And this harkens all the way back to Joyride when he mentioned something similar to the Cool Kids. But you could tell at the time he wasn't really ready to tell the Crystal Gems about it, about this feeling that he's been having. And I thought it was so cool that with everything that Amethyst is going through, Steven was able to open up with her first. And now this is something that they have in common, and they can help build each other up. It was very well handled. And it was definitely necessary after Amethyst's serious loss to Jasper and Crack the Whip, and how devastated she was at the end of that episode. We needed something immediately afterward that would help her begin the healing process. I don't think this is over. I don't think this is it. I still think she has a ways to go. Amethyst is obviously very damaged in a lot of ways, but this is definitely a better than acceptable start. Overall, I can't think of anything to criticize this episode about. I give it 5 out of 5 Pearl Bullets. That said, guys, what did you think of this episode? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.